From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, January the 18th, 2022. We open, of course, with the attack on Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, Saturday, that thankfully ended without physical harm to any of the hostages. Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker and 3 congregants were held at gunpoint by 44-year-old British national Malik Faisal Akram, who demanded the release of a Pakistani woman from prison. One hostage was released earlier in the evening, and later the rabbi and the remaining 2 congregants being held escaped. In his first interview, the rabbi told CBS Mornings of the decision he made in the 11th hour of the standoff.
The last hour or so of the standoff, he wasn't getting what he wanted. He was getting, it didn't look good. It didn't sound good. We were terrified. And when I saw an opportunity where he wasn't in a good position, I made sure that the 2 gentlemen who were still with me, that they were ready to go. The exit wasn't too far away. I told them to go. I threw a chair at the gunman, and I headed for the door. And all 3 of us were able to get out without even a shot being fired.
Last night, Rabbi Citron Walker spoke at the nearby Whitechapel Methodist Church during a special interfaith service where he received a 30-second standing ovation from the approximate 1,000 attendees of various faiths who came to show their support of and solidarity with the Jewish community. Rabbi Citron Walker said he has been overwhelmed by the support and compassion from the local communities and from people around the world, and that while very few of us are doing okay right now, he said, we'll get through this. President Joe Biden shared his support for the members of Congregation Beth Israel and the Jewish community and expressed his thanks to law enforcement, adding, "But let me be clear to anyone who intends to spread hate, we will stand against anti-Semitism and against the rise of extremism in this country." A Palestinian man tried to carry out a terror attack yesterday in the West Bank. The IDF said an assailant armed with a knife arrived in a vehicle at the Gush Etzion junction and attempted to stab an IDF soldier. In response to this threat, another soldier fired at the assailant and neutralized him. No IDF injuries were reported. A rabbi known as one of the earliest freedom riders during the 1960s has died. Israel Sy Dresner was also called the most arrested rabbi in America as he protested and marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for civil rights. His first arrest was in June of 1961 when he rode on a bus, a freedom ride, as part of an interfaith group through the South in the fight for desegregation. He said years later, "Well, I want to be remembered as somebody who not only tried to keep the Jewish faith, but also to invoke the Jewish doctrine from the Talmud, which is called Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. And I hope that I made a little bit of a contribution to making the world a little better place." Dresner died Thursday. He was 92. The Israeli Air Force concluded a joint air drill with the U.S. Air Force on Sunday. The IDF tweeted that during Desert Falcon, our air crews flew wing to wing and trained for various aerial scenarios and strikes. The exercise further strengthened our cooperation and readiness to face any threat. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, January the 18th at 7 o'clock. Rabbi Emil Hirsch explores the notion of freedom in his latest sermon. At 7:30, Eli Kohanim speaks with Pastor Mario Bramnick about Latino support for Israel. At 8, author Ron Lieber talks about raising good kids. At 9, it's part 1 of a L'chaim interview with Rabbi Joshua Hammerman. At 10, Hadassah Lieberman discusses her memoir, at the Hampton Synagogue. And coming up next, it's the ILTV's Insider. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, January the 18th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.